and welcome everybody for this today's webinar on restoration to observe World Environment Day, which is on 6th of June. But today we are doing it with the convenience of everybody. 2 days late maybe, but doesn't matter. We had 6th, 7th, and now we are to discuss and learn more from our guest speaker, Mr. Sharma, and I congratulate Supriya Bhalerao for taking initiative to arrange the expert talk by Mr. P.K. Sharma, who has spent most of his life with nature. Before we begin today's topic, let me give a brief introduction of our organization, All India Women's Conference. We began our journey 94 years ago in 1920. An Irish lady. She came from Ireland, and with Dr. Annie Besant and Maharani Chimnabai Gaikwad, second of Baroda state, we began our journey. Maharani was our first president, and we had our first meeting, inaugural meeting in Pune. Our for the education of women. Mrs. Cousins was very much interested in providing educational facilities, and our journey began with that. At present, we are at Bhagwan Das Road, New Delhi, as the head office is there, and later other branches all over the country, they also started with work of education. At present, we have about 500 branches and 1 lakh is women's health, empowerment, and education primarily, of course. In head office campus, we have Bapnugar, that is a short stay home for women in distress. We have community college also running there, and textile printing unit is there. Lot of other activities, climate change and renewable energy programs. We are having solar dryer system for providing hot water to the working women's hostel that we have there, housing about 250 girls in the working women's hostel. We have solar dry panels also, and solar dry solar cook, like drying of the vegetables is also going on there. Recently, we have erected sewage water treatment plant at the head office. These are the which is going on in our branches also to some extent. Like the last 3 years, we are working on a project for climate change given by German government, gender into urban issues, and that done in the 4 cities of Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, and Madras. Now, before we begin our program, this is I have just given you introduction of our work, this climate change programs. We have a lot of other programs also going on through our branches, like communal harmony and peace. Then we have our branches are doing lot of awareness program for legal issues, and also for health of women, awareness programs. Then we have Swachhata Abhiyan taken up by our branches. We work, lot of work is going on women's safeties. Recently, we had given some recommendations to the government for the safety of women all over the country. Now coming to our today's topic, I feel we all are aware that our environment as well as we human beings, all living beings are made up of elements like space, air, water, fire, and earth. And we are planet to live in harmony with each other and take care of each other. We gotten this and have exploited our self. Now the time has come for each one of us to behave extra cautiously uh, and to heal and restore Mother Nature. Unnecessary use of water, cutting of trees for our own use are few of the wrongdoings. We at AWC have been creating awareness throughout the country for this work also, and we have been planting, but not to the extent which is required. We have to do aggressively, and each one has to take this as the prime important program in their life. I here to listen from Mr. In detail about it, and we will know how to go ahead and work in that direction. Thank you very much, Supriya, and I think we should with the program.
Yes, Shilaji. I just have to give a brief idea about today's Environment Day. This will be the introduction to the subject, I can say. This year, World Environment Day was observed on the 5th of June. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I audible? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this year's World Environment Day was observed on the 5th of June as usual. In fact, the country of Pakistan hosted it in partnership with UNEP, that is UN Education Program, and the theme has been restoration of ecosystems. This particularly will be observed for the coming 10 years. UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration is going to be from 2021 to 2030. UN Decade is intended to massively scale up the restoration of degraded and destroyed ecosystems to fight the climate crisis, prevent the loss of millions of species from the earth, enhance the food security, water supply, livelihoods, etc. Ecosystems can be restored in many, many ways. But planting trees is one of the easiest and the most efficient one. When the tree cover on the earth improves to a greater extent, the climate change will start or will be mitigated to a large extent. In fact, we at AIWC have all different departments to take care of many of the issues which I mentioned above. Water is under MIC-ship of Mrs. Amreshwari, rural development under Mrs. Shobhalal, and mainly environment protection measures under Mrs. Kalyani Raj, and so on. This work will continue as usual in any case, but now the time has come to think big and act big. In South Zone A and also for South Zone B too, we would like to take up a massive drive of planting trees. There is an experiment. This is an experiment we would like to take up this year in 2021 to 2022. We have to do it systematically. The idea to plant the trees everywhere. Plant the trees in rural and semi-urban areas, on the roadside or highways, open areas, anywhere, schools, college premises, and also at homes. In cities, identify the big areas and plant there, like university campuses, government offices, big institutes with large premises, etc. Our plan would be that we will not dig pits or water plants ourselves. Mind you, take assistance of Gram Panchayats, VO's office, Tehsildars, collectors, joint collectors, and various other departments, even the forest department where actually Mr. Sharma comes from. So DFOs and range officers and their help also we can take. Now, what trees to plant? Our respected speaker today will give us the contacts and we will have the list ready, very soon. And these plants have to be planted as per the agroclimatic zones of the country. So there'll be guidelines prepared and distributed shortly to South Zone A members and branches to decide upon the number of trees to plant. Each zone, on an average, has 40 active branches. We should plant 500 trees in the first phase of 2 months. Rather, 500 trees every 2 months, so that we touch the number of 1 lakh trees in a year's time, every zone. And this we start in our zone, South Zone A and also B. We will have frequent internal webinars to take it forward, to understand, to plan. And we will also have small little workshops with the experts in the next 2-3 weeks. If you have a nod to this, all of you, please give your thumbs up in the chat box or speak in the interactive session in the later stage. Kindly don't leave the meeting till the end. We need to talk, all of us, because this is going to be an important program for all of us. I thank you here for giving me a patient listening. And now I'll take the program forward. So let me introduce today's speaker. Mr. P.K. Sharma, Indian Forest Service retired, former Principal Chief Conservator of Forests and Head of Forest Force of Telangana State. He is from Bhilwara district of Rajasthan, studied in a government college Ajmer and topper of the MSc Botany. He worked as a lecturer in Government College Bundi before joining the Indian Forest Service in 1980 and was posted in AP and Telangana states, particularly the erstwhile AP. He held many important positions in the 36 years of his service. His experience is almost in all the fields of forestry and wildlife, such as social forestry, preventive vigilance and anti-corruption, non-timber forest produce, application of IT, remote sensing and geomatics in natural resources and HR management, training and education, skill upgradation, participatory management, environment impact assessment, etc. He has been a good athlete and yoga expert. He's an avid reader and writer and has many papers and articles to his credit. Also, is a resource person in many national institutes. He's a recipient of many awards. President's Scout Medal in 1971 received through the hands of the then President Shri V.B. Giri. Recipient National Merit Scholarship 1975 to 77 and was a C grade C certificate holder of NCC Army Wing. He is a recipient of Gold Medal of Yoga from Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration in Mussoorie and held the Best Athlete Trophy of AP Forest Department. He is retired as PCCF and HOFF, that is Head of the Forest Force in 2016, and later worked as Chief Consultant in MCR Human Resource Development Institute in Hyderabad till the last year, and guided the civil servants, that is civil service probationers in their foundation course. I must share one thing with you all, that Mr. Sharma is a great supporter of AIWC and partnered with our branch in Hyderabad for the event on climate change and gender involvement. He not only gave us the conference hall of Aranya Bhavan, but hosted a lunch for the participants. This program was given to me by Mrs. Usha Nair and Mrs. Kalyani Raj to hold. He also helped our branch in holding the zonal meeting and TOT program in MCR, Human Resource Development Institute in Hyderabad, where our zone members had come and stayed. That time, the last team of office bearers, President Rakesh Javanji, Secretary General Kalyani ji, and Treasurer Dr. Manju Kakji attended it. He's a dedicated forester and will give us definitely some kind of help from his entire department. Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for all that support to AIWC. Now I would request you to give us your address to the present gathering. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Supriya Bhalerao. I think I have been, for the sake of all the attendants, I must say that we have been associated for more than a decade. And we have done many projects together. Besides what she has spoken about, she has been instrumental in bringing out the state of forest reports of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, then also report of the forest inventory and many other publications. So that way, I have been associated and I have been benefited by her expertise in bringing out this kind of thing. So I am really very happy to be with all of you and share my views on the eve of this World Environment Day. And it's going to be beginning of the World Environment Decade for the restoration of the ecosystems. I shall share my views through a PowerPoint presentation.
Please share the screen now.
Yeah, is it visible to everybody?
Yeah.
So
yes, it is.
Going with the theme of this year's current year's World Environment Day, my theme is on that is the ecosystem restoration. And why there is need for restoring the ecosystem? Because we have caused enough damage to the ecosystems. Many of you who are not students of science might not be aware of the word. What exactly is the meaning of the ecosystem? Before that, I'd like to say that we have started, or rather the United Nations has adopted 5th June to be the World Environment Day way back in 1972 in the Stockholm Conference on the Human Environment. But actually started celebrating from 1974. And the first WED theme was Only One Earth. Clearly means that there is no other planet which supports life. We have been trying to find out if there is life on the Mars or any other planet. So far, we could not succeed in this. So be happy with this, that we are having the only planet which is supporting such a big ecosystem. So what's an ecosystem? In layman's terms, I will say any unit, geographical unit, which supports all the organisms or a community in a given area interacting with the physical environment so that a flow of energy leads to clearly defined trophic structure, biotic diversity, and material cycles. So in simple terms, I'll say whatever we are taking out from the earth, it should go back to the earth. That is a cycling of the minerals. And there is flow of energy through trophic structures. Human beings are only beings who are not synthesizing any food. There are two types of people and organisms which can synthesize the food. They can convert the solar energy into the chemical energy, and that is the plants only. So they are the producers, and rest of all are consumers. So there are different levels, and if you want to go into it, you can go through any book on the ecology. And the best book I recommend is of the Eugene P. Odom, if Fundamentals of Ecology. It will give you the full idea because it's such a big study. It's difficult to comprehend within short time. So this is, in short, I'll say all the organisms, whether they are plants or animals, big or small, visible or invisible, they are all interacting with each other in such a way that we help each other. Without their support, nobody can survive. So the components of this ecosystem are inorganic substances, organic compounds, climate regime, that is like rainfall, temperature, everything including. Producers, as I told you, the plants, which way they convert the solar energy through chlorophyll. No other agency or organism which is not having chlorophyll cannot convert solar energy into food. Then there are macro consumers and micro consumers. And we, human beings, are sitting at the top of this ecological pyramid. We don't contribute with either. We are only causing disturbances, destruction everywhere. So this we have to understand that if we want to survive, all these animals and plants need to survive. Then these ecosystems can be, say, classified into different types based on the locations. Say, you can call them, say, freshwater ecosystem, marine ecosystem, desert ecosystem, hot and cold desert ecosystems, then tropical region-wise, tropical, temperate. So every unit of geography has got a spatial composition of organisms, the plants, animals, and the climatic factors. These interact. So that's the ecosystem. Then why do we talk of restoration? Restoration means it clearly implies that something has gone wrong. And who has caused this wrong? In fact, I was trying to uh, show or share one video clip, which is most popular on the uh, TVs as well as net. But the sound is, there is a problem. So you can say the human being, only one species. God has created this universe not only for the human beings. So we need to, he has created millions of species of plants and animals, macro as well as micro animals, microorganisms. And unfortunately, we have been in our, say, whatever our knowledge, I will say that is also limited knowledge. With our limited knowledge, we have been eliminating number of species. And that's how we have been causing damage to the ecosystem. If we realize this thing, and if we stop destruction of the ecosystem, then nature itself will take care. We must have seen in the pandemic period during especially 2020, when there was lockdown, Delhi, which was one of the most polluted cities, it was free of air pollution. The Ganges, river Ganges was flowing without any kind of pollutants. So it only means that because of human or anthropogenic interference only, we have caused a lot of damage to the ecosystem. So we have to give a chance again to the nature so that it takes care by reducing interference from the human beings. I must say what countries are doing, what India has done in this regard. We have formulated beautiful policies. In fact, India is supposed to be master in drafting the policies. But when it comes to implementation, we are probably one of the worst implementers. So we have got forest policies of 1894, 1952, 1988, and there is going to be revision next time also. I'd like to draw attention to the Constitution, Article 48A, which is one of the directive principles of the state policy. What it says: protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forests and wildlife. the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Have we done it? It has remained only directive principle. Lots of things have happened, but still we have been losing forest. Forests have been encroached upon. Forest, the animals have been poached upon. Forests have been set on fire, and lot many things which are not desirable are happening. When Mrs. Gandhi was the Prime Minister, she brought out one amendment to the Constitution, one of the most controversial as far as the politics is concerned, human rights are concerned. But she did one good thing by bringing in this fundamental duty. Though the fundamental rights are judiciable, anybody can go to the court if fundamental rights are not honored. But there is no such provision for the fundamental duties. And what is this fundamental duty towards protection of forest and wildlife is that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. This is what we have been taught by our forefathers. We believed in the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. All the organisms living on this planet Earth are members of our family. But unfortunately, many of us, if not everyone, has forgotten this, and that's how we have landed into this kind of situation. Lots of efforts have been made for the protection of forest, wildlife, environment, ecosystems, whether they are lakes. We'll find number of acts which have been passed since 19th century. The Indian Forest Act, Cattle Transparency Act. I am just giving a list. It's not exhaustive. Environment Protection Act of 86, Biological Diversity Act of 2002, then Scheduled Tribes and Other Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act of 2006, National Green Tribunal Act 2010. Then we are also parties to the international treaties and conventions. Convention on the International Trade in Endangered Species, commonly known as CITES. International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN. The Antarctic Treaty, the Montreal Protocol, Basel Convention on Transboundary Movement of the Hazardous Waste, UN Framework on Climate Change, Convention on Biological Diversity, which is Nagoya Protocol, UN Convention on Desertification, Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, Prior Informed Consent or Rotterdam Convention, Kyoto Protocol, Ramsar Convention. All these treaties and conventions make it binding on all the parties which have signed it to protect the environment, whether it is forest, whether it is wildlife, whether it is lakes, whether it is air or anything which we can call pollution. So the fight has been taken, has been put on paper in black and white, and it's the responsibility of all the nations to respect it and implement these things. But the setting up goals is one issue, achieving, executing is different. There are many issues, especially the developing countries have been saying that the share of destruction to the ecosystem, whether it is we call it global warming or climate change, its major contribution is from the developed nations. They should fund the developing countries. And this is where there is no agreement. Though agreement is there in principle, but when it comes to implementation, you need lots of finances. And this is the major crux. The developing countries, as it is, they are short of funds for their own development agenda. And when they have to take care of the global problems, then the entire community of nations, they have to contribute to it. So there, the consensus has not yet been reached, though some countries, in fact, till recently, United States of America was not a party to it. Only after the election of Mr. Joe Biden, he has said that he will honor these treaties and he will also be funding it. So without the contribution of USA or USSR, you can imagine what can be done by the poor countries like Seychelles or Maldives or Sri Lanka or Bhutan. That's a big problem. Then, so we talk about the Millennium Development Goals. These were supposed to achieved by 2020. It's already over. So it has been decided that it will be given another decade's time to achieve all these goals. There are many goals covering different aspects of life. Goal number 7, it talks about the environmental sustainability. And there are detailed guidelines, detailed action plans have been prescribed how these have to be achieved. And in fact, in every year, assessment also has been done. And especially the developing countries, not only developing, even the developed countries have not fulfilled the targets given to them. Now we have come, that the United Nations has come up with the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs. And our country also has adopted it. In these goals, there are 4 goals which have a direct link with the ecosystems and environment. That is goal number 6, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all by 2020 again. But again, not possible, could not be achieved. So another decade's time has been given, which goes in line with the, or in tune with the now the decade for restoration of the ecosystems. So the goal was by 2020, protect and restore water-related ecosystems, including mountains, forests, wetlands, rivers, aquifers, and lakes, yet to be done in complete shape. Then there is goal number 13, connected with the climate action. Take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. Very easy to say, but very difficult to do it. Strengthen the resilience and adaptive capabilities of climate-related hazards and natural disasters by all the countries. Integrate climate change measures into national policies, strategies, and planning. This is where I was talking that people have been demanding funds from the international agencies and the developed nations. Improve education, awareness raising, and human and institutional capacity on climate change mitigation, adaptation, impact reduction, and early warning. All very, very noble and very laudable objectives, but we have not made much progress in this, and lot need to be done. So goal number 14 talks about life below water. That means there is life in the oceans also, in the fresh waters also. So we have to take care of them also. You must have read number of stories seen on the TVs also, that because of oil spill and also dumping of the plastics into the oceans, large number of animals living in the oceans are dying. Not only animals, even the plants, including the coral reefs, are getting damaged, destroyed. So we are causing havoc everywhere, not only on the Earth's surface, but also in the water, including oceans and also the skies. So this has to be stopped. So conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for this sustainable development. Again, when we talk of sustainable development of only human beings. So our attitudes have to change, that we have to not only take care of the human beings, but all forms of life. Then life on land. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems. Sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. Again, very, very laudable objectives, but matching funds are not coming. So what state governments are doing? Because ultimately the international agenda has to be adopted by the nations. And in country like India, where there are a number of states, federal structure is there. So Federation of States will have to adopt those and incorporate into their acts and rules. And then it has to be implemented. and action plan has to be matched with the budget grant. And for the information of all the enlightened audience here, the country has got 22.3% of the geographical area legally under forest. For maintaining this ecosystem, and this forest is not only trees. In this, we have got lakes also, we have got parts of the oceans also. So deserts also, they are there in this part. So there are different kinds of ecosystems within the forest, legally defined. But when we talk of it, hardly, as on today, good forest is confined to 10% of the geographical area. So for managing this 22.3% of land area, how much of budget is allocated in our country? Anybody's guess? It's not even 1%. It's 0.7% of the total budget of the government of India and state governments put together. This is the sorry state of affairs. And we are talking of restoration of the ecosystems. We cannot save the existing ecosystems with this money. So this is a very, very big question, and this need to be pondered. And if we can act as pressure groups, we have to apply pressure on the governments so that they give sufficient, not only sufficient, but adequate money to the concerned departments so that the existing ecosystems can be first of all protected, and then we can enhance it. So there are a number of acts. Say the state of AP and Telangana has put together as many as 27 or 8 acts and 29 rules governing the forest, environment, wildlife, ecosystems, all put together. But net result, as I say, even the state governments are not spending even 1% of the total budget allocation on this sector. So this is a very, very big question mark, and everybody need to think of it. Why I am talking more about the forest? Because forest makes the key component of the ecosystems. As I told you, that forest doesn't mean only trees. Within the legally defined forest, there are lakes, there are oceans, there are rivers, there are deserts, there are rocky outcrops, barren mountains. So everything contributes to the maintenance of the ecosystem. Just to have a glimpse of the ecosystem, our country is home to innumerable number of endangered, rare, and threatened species. Few examples are given here in the pictures. 7 nature World Heritage Sites. There is Nanda Devi, Kaziranga, Manas, Sundarbans, Western Ghats, Kevadev, and Great Himalayan National Parks. These are the 7 natural World Heritage Sites. We have got 104 national parks and 544 wildlife sanctuaries covering an area of 1,56,700 square kilometers, or roughly 5% of the geographical area of the country. There are 18 biosphere reserves, where they are parts of Wayanad, Nagarhole, Bandipur, Madhumalai, Nilampur, Silent Valley, Sirwani Hills, part of Chamoli, Pithoragarh, and Bageshwar districts in Uttarakhand. So they make the biosphere reserves. So the concept, what is a national park, what is wildlife sanctuary, what is biosphere reserves, these need to be, and say it takes more time. So I'll just tell you, at least you come to know about these kinds of things are existing in our country. There are 7,57,060 wetlands, covering to 15.26 million hectares of area. This also is part of the ecosystem, because lakes are also being encroached. I'll tell you about the city of Hyderabad itself. In one city, about in 1947, we had 82 water bodies. Now only 26 are remaining. The rest are encroached. They are filled up. Colonies have come in their places. So this is the kind of havoc we are playing with the nature. There are 465 important bird species, bird areas in the country. So what nature says, nature only gives, it doesn't take anything from us. Nothing in nature lives for itself. Rivers don't drink their own water. Trees don't eat their own fruits. Sun doesn't give heat for itself. And flowers don't spread fragrance for themselves. They are all living for others. That is the rule of the nature. Whereas human beings, it's a reverse of all these things. Everything is for human being. This is the thinking, and this thinking only has caused a lot of damage and all the damage to the ecosystems. We depend on nature for us, for our living and well-being. There are different kinds of services you can see. Provisioning services are there, regulating services, where this climate regulation, water and waste purification, air purification, all these services are being provided by the existing forest. Cultural services, supporting services, and also it gives resilience to the climate change. But we don't care. It's source of sustenance for over 275 million of people. They are directly dependent on the forest produce, which way it's not timber, it's a non-timber forest produce. So they are bamboo, they are various kinds of leaves, fruits, seeds, bark, and they are supplied to the different kinds of manufacturers. Most of our Ayurvedic medicines and even the active principles of the allopathic medicines, they are also derived from one type of plant or the other. Then God has not created even a single organism without a purpose, which does not serve the human being or the humanity or the entire ecosystem. And that's why the role played by each species in ecosystem is called as ecological niche. And the role played by that particular species cannot be performed by others. So once we, because of our action, one species disappears from this planet Earth, that means that particular ecological function services are gone and it can't be taken over by others. So this is how, and we have lost a number of such species and we are losing. That's why I said there are a number of endangered species, threatened species. There is a red book. You'll find country-wise what are the threatened and endangered species. So unless we take care, they will be vanishing once and for all. And we'll be losing the benefit of their services once and for all. So 56% of the rural firewood is obtained only from the forest. Now, many state governments have taken the initiative of supplying the LPGs to the villages. So this is bringing down the pressure. So this kind of thing is required to be done. If we want to reduce the pressure on the nature, on the forest, on the ecosystems, then we have to come out with the alternatives. And again, alternatives means you need funds. So that much of thing has to be done. Otherwise, we'll be losing these benefits once and for all. So evaluation of ecosystem services is very, very difficult task. Number of agencies have tried their hands on this thing, on somebody on a small scale, somebody on a big scale. Only few examples I am giving here. So Uttarakhand, it was estimated to be US $2.46 billion per year. 911 square kilometers of mangroves in Gujarat is worth 1,603 crore of Indian rupees, which includes fodder, timber, firewood, fishing, etc., etc. 39 million hectares of dense forests of India. They prevent, say, only one I am giving, say, so many services are there. How much of soil loss? Because the topsoil, if forest cover is gone, then topsoil is washed away with the rains and it goes into the streams and rivers and ultimately into the ocean. So the loss is 5,000 crore rupees per annum. So this is the kind of, because if we have to supplement or replenish the same value which these humus, the topsoil, which was containing carbon and nitrogen, we have to give artificial the fertilizers. The cost of that will be this much. A 12-year-old plantation accumulated 2124 per hectare worth of phosphorus. So there are a number of studies on different aspects of ecosystem services. They are available. And that's why you must have read in the papers few days back that it's not a question of the value of tree, the timber. That only need not be collected. If somebody wants to divert a forest area, collect from him the cost of the ecological services lost. And he gave only one example of oxygen, how much a tree contributes. If this much of oxygen is to be produced artificially, how much money will be required? Collect that much from the user agency. When we see our country's position and global context, our geographical area is only 2% of the geographical area of the earth. But we are supporting 57.36% of the buffaloes, 14.7% of the cattle heads, and 17.4% of the population of the human beings. So this is the pressure, and under this pressure, naturally, there is bound to be catastrophic effect on the ecosystem, including forest. So I'll just give only what are the intangible benefits which we are deriving from the forest. They produce oxygen, they cleanse the soil, they control noise pollution, water runoff is stopped. It's a carbon sink, it cleans the air, it gives you shade and cool, acts as a windbreak, fights against the soil erosion, and increases the property value in the cities. So damages due to the loss of forests, I have already enumerated. Again, simply air, soil, and water pollution, increase in the noise pollution, soil erosion, landslides, reduction in carbon sinks, increase in the atmospheric temperature and global warming, floods and drought, all these things. So this picture only shows that if the economy keeps growing the way it is growing today, society also wants to grow. It's encroaching upon the environment, eating into the environment, the forest, the wildlife, and all types of ecosystems. So that's where the challenge comes, how to bring in a balance between the development of the economy and also taking care of the ecosystem, the forest, wildlife at the same time without damaging any of these things. So that's the big challenge, and that's where most of the people are finding it difficult and they are not getting any answers. These are only few photographs of good teak forest, good forest, eroded soils in the forest where gullies are formed and topsoil is washed away. And especially in these hills where there is no forest, no tree growth available, not even shrub growth, the entire soil is washed away. It's a barren rocks. Rocks are exposed. And earlier people say having huge side trees. As the DFO Karimnagar is way back in early 80s, I have seen teak trees at measuring 386 centimeters in girth. You don't find even 100 centimeters girth trees in these areas nowadays. This was the picture, very common picture, supply of timber and poles for the production of paper and paper encroachment for cultivation, hutments, encroachment. This is a we had one experiment of joint forest management that we thought people have got a lot of wisdom and they can manage the forest very well, but not everywhere. Not all people have got that much wisdom, and wisdom is there, but people don't listen to the wise people. So as a result, there was mismanagement, and instead of improvement of the forest, it was degradation. People say cattle keep grazing without hindrance. People are clearing the lands for the purpose of cultivation. They are collecting all types of non-timber forest produce unscientifically, and in the process causing damage to the golden goose, which lays the golden eggs. So only few, say in the late 80s and early 90s, we started this forest management of the country. At very few places, there are successful examples. I'll say 80% of the, say, joint forest management committees have not done well. And if they were doing well, they were doing well only during the period of execution of the externally added project. So long as there was money, they have shown interest, they have protected, they have done some activity or the other. The moment funds dry up, their interest also gone. And the forests are back to the square one. So where people, they were tending the natural forest. So this is the, say, picture, but everything is not bad. In this situation also, something can be done. If we follow these three basic principles. One is reduce the use of direct use of timber and non-timber forest produce to the extent possible. And also go in for alternatives. That will reduce the pressure on the natural forest. Reuse, whichever articles can be reused. So increase their so multiple uses will ensure again reduction in the pressure and recycling. So these three R's are the basic principles of uh, restoration of the ecosystems. If we do it sincerely, it can be done at the individual level, at the family level, at the society level, and national level, and globally as well. These only will ensure that the pressure on the forest comes down. So what can we do? We can start by say existing forest and lakes and water bodies should be protected effectively. There should be no encroachments, no further damage. So that will say, because we cannot create forest, we cannot create the lakes again. So that's the basic issue, that wherever, because God has created these things, especially this ecosystem, we see, once we go to the forest, we see trees only on the ground. But you will be, say, amazed to know that there is close networking of different kinds of trees, plants, herbs, shrubs, and climbers. Their roots are interacting with each other. Even if one tree is cut, the other tree will take care of it to some extent for some time. So by removing certain trees, certain plants, we are not only damaging that particular species, but many other species which are interacting with that particular species. And not only plants, but because the trees, the plants, they harbor number of insects, smaller animals, medium-sized animals, they will be losing the shelter. So that's why it's important that we protect very, very effectively the existing forest, lakes, and water bodies. We can save energy because, as I told you, even today, 56% of the rural farm is depending on the firewood, which is legally or illegally brought from the forest. So if we can give them alternate source of energy, whether it is solar or wind energy or LPG, that will reduce the pressure on the forest. Switch over to the renewable sources of energy, even otherwise also, like the Gujarat has shown the way. They have boosted the production of solar energy to such a large extent that the dependence on the hydel and coal-based energy has come down. And this is what is going to happen to the entire nation. So our dependence on the oil and coal, the fossil fuels, will come down. That's the way of restoring the ecosystem, reduce the pollution of air, water, and land by all means. And last but not the least important, that we plant trees in a massive way, make it a massive people's movement. Then only we can say cut down the pressure on the forest, natural forest. Nobody will go to the forest for any kind of purpose. So what all we are getting from the natural forest, if we can grow all those species outside the forest, wherever species are available, then it will happen. So existing forest, I'll talk just only about that, protect the existing forest and allow it to regenerate. If there is no interference, they will regenerate. We can supplement by treating them. There are methods, and they are coupled with the soil and moisture conservation methods. Then plant in the badly degraded sites, which were once upon a time good forests and because degraded because of human interference. Those sites can be again planted back in the forest itself. And we, as a community, we should be trained how to plant trees and look after them outside the forest. So it starts with the, say, selection of the site, where to plant the trees. Say, if I am in a village or in a town, where is the space for planting trees? Say, we have been planting trees on one Mahotsav days right from 1951. If we take into account, say somebody takes out the statistics, how many trees have been planted on the one Mahotsava day, one Mahotsava week every year, right from 1951 to 2021, then probably the entire surface area of our country would have been covered with the trees. So it means that something has gone wrong. Merely planting trees is not important. It's important that whatever we plant, that tree survives, lives to the fullest extent, provides all the benefits to us. Then only it's successful plantation. So when it comes to sites, the sites available to us are our own homesteads. Starting from the homestead, we can plant trees of our choice. Maybe horticultural species also do well here. We can go in for some kind of aromatic plants. We can go grow some medicinal plants, and then we go out to the community lands wherever they are available. They may be institutional lands. It could be roadsides, canal banks, railway sites. So all these plants sites have to be identified. The soils have to be tested, and for which species they are suitable, there has to be a match between the species and the site conditions. So we can go in for different kinds of species, say shade-bearing, ornamental, and fruit-bearing trees on the avenues, fruit-bearing and medicinal plants in the homesteads. Then we should know the planting tactic. When to plant, how to plant, whether we have to go in for pit planting or crowbar hole planting. There are different methods of planting for different types of plants. So that should be, so the forest department, especially the social forestry departments or horticulture department, they can provide us training and we can train our workers in this thing. And there is one more question that say suppose we plant tamarind trees or mango trees along the roadsides. Who owns them? So, and therefore this also there are number of usufruct sharing mechanisms available, successful. Like if there is a 10 kilometers long road and we are planting such trees at 10 meters apart, that means there are going to be
Okay.
200 trees, one kilometer. They can be given to one family or two family, and they can be made responsible for its protection, its watering, and subsequently sharing of the usufruct. That kind of thing can be done. And say I'm coming to an end. I like to quote from our Skanda Puran. It says that Ashwathmekam Pichumandamekam Nyagrodhmekam Das Chinchinikan Kapit Bilwal Malkapatrayanch Panchamra Muptva Narkanna Pashet. Whosoever plants Ashwath, that is people, or Pichumand, that is name, as a director indica, Nyagrodh, what, that is a bargain, Chinchini, Imli or tamarind, Kapit, kavit, Bilv, Bilvapatram, Aula or mango. If whosoever plants these species, this has been written thousands of years ago in their home states or agricultural lands or community lands, he will never face the naraka. That means they have been saying these are the trees which need to be promoted on a big scale. And you might have seen the old highways, they have this kind of trees only. So for taking up this activity, where do we look to? We look to the district collector, so district administration supported by the Panchayat Raj department, social forestry wing of the forest department, and their officers will come to our help. Within the Panchayat Raj departments, say in the state of Telangana, the government has given instruction that every Gram Panchayat will be planting trees wherever spaces are available. We can coordinate with them and align our planting activity with the activities of the Gram Panchayat, because they are being given funds also. There are different mechanisms. There are monitoring mechanisms as well. We can take the help of environmental NGOs who have got their own sources of funding. So they can do funding for pitting of digs or even putting the tree guards, watering and aftercare also. And where from to get the seedlings of the identified species or desired species. So we must know there are government nurseries of the forest department, social forestry wings. We can find out the locations. The states of Andhra, Telangana, and many more states have put up the locations of all these nurseries on their departments' websites. So we can identify the nearest nursery and their contact numbers also given there. We can contact and put our indents and take the seedlings. Then the arrangement for transport from nursery to the planting site. Somebody has to foot the bill. That also is required to be done. Then what species? Either the pits. If you are going for avenue planting of very tall seedlings of 2 meters, then you need to go for 1 cubic pit size. That means 1 meter by 1 meter and 1 meter depth. This big a pit. Then again you need farmyard manure and red earth, then cow dung. All these things had to be mixed in. So this also has to be procured. And planting has to be done. So all these advanced operations have to be done well in advance of the planting season. If we are depending 100% only on the rain-fed plantations, if rainfall is the only criteria, then all this must happen before the onset of monsoon. And with the onset of monsoon, planting must be done. And then, as I told, that these need to be protected. And protection has to be given at different places of different types. If it is institutional plantations, if there is already compound wall or barbed wire fencing, then there is not much of a problem. Maybe only simply brushwood fencing will do. Elsewhere, we have to put in steel or plastic, the tree guards will have to be put, which may be costing 200 to 500 rupees per tree guard. And how long to look after? A plantation, especially because they are, besides human beings, cattle, and especially the goats, they are the most, we can say, enemy number one of the new plantations. So we have to protect against the cattle head. So till the plants reach a height of, say, 2 meters and above, we should not say it is safe. So till that time, they have to be guarded very, very effectively. And it may take 2 years or 3 years. And after care, we have to take up to, say, at least 5 years. Subsequently, if we stop watering and all that thing, there will be no problem. But depending on the species, we may have to do. And when the home states and all that thing where we are going for horticultural species, we may have to apply the fertilizers, and I recommend only biofertilizers. And wherever we need to use the pesticides, again going for biopesticides. That only will ensure the safety and quick growth of the seedlings which we have planted. So these are the eucalyptus examples. So again, I'll ending with my talk that we have to focus on these 3 R's: reduce, recycle, and reuse. And this way for doing these things, because we are accustomed to a type of lifestyle which will not be conducive to 3 R's. So we need to adapt to this type of policy and change our lifestyles. And COVID already has forced us to change our lifestyle to a large extent. So we can, in continuity, we can further change with the idea in the mind that our actions should not adversely impact the ecosystems. On the other hand, we must positively contribute to the amelioration of the ecosystem. And if this continues for a decade, I'm 100% sure that the Mother Earth will be shining again. It will be green again. It will be positive and giving only all things to us. The only thing is we also take equal care of the Mother Earth. Thank you. Thank you very much for the patience. And I'm not able to say play those two video clips.
Yeah, Mr. Sharma, we are trying it from our head office. We'll try and play the videos if possible. So Pratibha, you can share the screen. Thank you so much, Mr. Sharma. It was a very wonderful, informative
So nice of you.
talk of yours. We'll first see the videos, then the head office is going to close. After that, we continue our meeting. Okay.
Madam, is it possible
Pratibha?
to send that there?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm trying.
Yeah, please try.
Is it
First, you
audible?
can show them. No, it is not audible. First, you can show us the cartoon film. No sound.
Doesn't matter. We can see
Doesn't
it.
matter. Okay. This is a very, very common film. I must think that everyone must have already watched it, as it says most watched
But
video.
that is a reminder.
Correct.
You may consider this one as coronavirus. It has not come from some other planet, but from our own planet. So God's creations are so many. Our knowledge is confined only to 10 to 12% of the all organisms, which is tip of the iceberg. We don't know even till today about the 88% of the life forms. So if they appear just like coronavirus, we don't know what will happen to the humanity. So
True,
this is
true,
a grim reminder
true.
that at least be alert now, take care of everything. Don't consider that this earth belongs to you only, you human beings. It
Yes.
belongs to
Yes.
84 million 84 lakhs of life organisms.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you for showing
Very
this
right.
one.
We
I think
Thank
it
behave
you.
was
as if
without
we are
sign,
the
with
owners.
sound. But
Mm.
all of you can watch on your own
Yeah,
mobile phones as well as
I'll share
laptops
it.
or desktops.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
worth
I'll share
watching,
it in the
reminding
video.
everybody.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
I'll share it in the video. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group. So definitely. Thank you very
That
much,
will be
Mr.
fine.
Sharma. Yes. We are left with another
I'm in
20
a
minutes. With
meeting.
we want to.
Yeah, please.
Can we continue our meeting? We are
After half an
now.
hour. Yeah.
We have to now request Mrs. Kalyani Raj, our present member in charge, environment and climate change, to give her remarks on this day. She is actually our formal Secretary General at the head office, and before that has been holding the responsibility of the environment protection and climate change for a long time. She has attended many COP conferences, presented papers in different international conferences, and spoken at various conferences, got international projects for AIWC. I say she's a very knowledgeable person who keeps herself very well informed. Now I invite you, Kalyani, to please address our gathering today.
Namaskar. Thank you, Supriya, and good afternoon to all. Thank you, Mr. Sharma, first of all, for that detailed deliberation and guiding us through the forestry laws, mitigation options, and all very informative. In fact, many of our branches, as Sheila ji also mentioned, are already engaged in the plantation activities and do it on a regular basis. And I'm sure your sharing has added to their list of things to do. In fact, Sheila ji has already highlighted different activities AIWC is engaged into. I'm just adding a few mitigation and adaptation activities just for your information AIWC branches are doing. As she said, AIWC is propagating alternate energy since 1980s, and we were the nodal agency for the MNRE, Ministry of Rural Development Energy, for improved Chula, solar lantern, and biogas programs till almost 2000. And some members have taken it forward even later. And one of our project on TOT to women convicts of jail on repair of solar equipment was awarded as one of the best practices award during the Rio conference in 2012 in Brazil. Apart from this, our branches are in Kerala. They are conducting energy efficiency program through Energy Clinic with young trained women. And another interesting activity, which one of our branches from Chennai, one of the constituent branch of WIA, which Padmaji, of course, will give you more details about, Sanju Women's Association, I think they are doing is preparation and scattering of seed balls for facilitating plantation in barren lands in the outskirts of Chennai. And that also was recognized and published in the UN COP 2 years ago. Climate change adaptation and climate change risk reduction, particularly for women and children, is also one of our primary focus. And a number of branches are conducting disaster preparedness awareness generation program for community women, school children, and youth groups. And being a women's organization, welfare of women is our primary focus, and hence we have taken up a project, Gender Integration in Climate Change Policy in 4 cities in India. And as you rightly said, while doing this project, we have realized that we have very good laws, policies, and schemes, whereas completely lack strict adherence or implementation. So these are some of the climate change related activities AIWC is engaged into. I just wanted to share it for your information. And coming to the topic, and for our members and participants today, Mr. Sharma has already given a lot of ideas and options. I don't want to say much, but we can work on any of them and take forward the ecosystem restoration program. This is I think for a decade. Supriya has also given one good idea about a plantation program, and yes, thumbs up from me, definitely. It's a certainly doable and pertinent project. And another option, option which I thought we could start was this I'm actually telling in regard to the continuation, because I'm looking at it not as the ending of the Environment Day program, I'm looking at the beginning of the decade ecosystem restoration. तो 10 साल तक हम इस काम को चला सकते हैं, उसी हिसाब से मैं जो सजेशन दे रही हूँ. तो एक सजेशन था, बी कॉन्शियस फॉर अ डे, एक दिन की संचेतना, we can say. I feel if we are conscious for one day for whatever we consume or use, right from the time we get up in the morning until the end of the day, we will realize that we can connect every activity of our day with the environment or ecosystem, which Mr. Sharma explained earlier. And all these resources, as he explained, they're all interconnected. So हमारी जो है सभी गतिविधियां एक दिन की प्रकृति के साथ जुड़ी हुई हैं. प्राइमरी जो भी हम करते हैं, they are all connecting to with like water, food, plants, energy. Energy में electricity and transport both are included. Products you use, as he said, eco-friendly products, clothes, electric equipment, plastic, accessories you use, all these items come under one. And most important, waste you generate. These are basically जो एक दिन में हम करते हैं, जिससे हम जुड़ते हैं. तो एक दिन के लिए ये सभी प्रकृति से निकले हैं और प्रकृति को ही जाने हैं, जैसे मिस्टर शर्मा ने कहा. So if one day of our life we are conscious about this, if we are like how much water we use, how much waste we generate, how much energy we have used, or what products we eat, what food we ate, what did we drink, then I think we can sort of reduce our carbon footprint to a large extent. And in fact, food related, I just wanted to share one incident. Day before yesterday, Calcutta Eastern Zone had arranged a webinar, and there were some young students who spoke, and one of the boy mentioned, correct me, Indrani, if you are there, he said 1.5 lakh liter of milk we use on Shivaratri. And I mean, it's really struck me hard that we all do it probably at some point of time. All of us would have done that, pouring milk on the ling. But I'm not getting into the religious aspect of it, but from a child's perspective, I don't know what are we teaching them or what examples are we setting to them? Are we giving it, justifying it by any way? So there are so many questions, I think, in the children's mind, like, which needs to be answered. And this is something, shocking wake-up call for us also, कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं, बच्चों को क्या सिखाएंगे और किस लिए, कुछ भी हम सोच समझ के हमें करना चाहिए. So that's what I feel, that if we one day of our life, if we connect with planet Earth or environment in the true sense, we can do wonders. And like we need to do that first. वो हिंदी में जो एक कहावत है कि वो बच्चे को गुरु के पास लेके गया कि भी मीठा बहुत खाता है, तो गुरु ने कहा कल आना, पहले मैं अपना ठीक कर लूं. Same situation. We need to do that first so that we can propagate it to others, and ultimately so that it can lead to practice of a sustainable lifestyle, which is very much required for attaining of all the SDG goals which Mr. Sharma spoke about, the UN Paris Agreement challenges, climate crisis, for everything. What we need is a sustainable lifestyle which will keep the planet survive, which will survive the planet for years together for future generation. So this is very much possible. ये कुछ मुश्किल का काम नहीं है, and I think जो है, जैसे मिस्टर शर्मा ने कहा, कोविड ने हमें ये सिखा दिया है. It has set the momentum and has given us a taste of what fundamental transformation can look like. Because हम लोग भी जैसे बड़े selfish हैं, unless we are pushed to that, we don't act. So we can, it is proved now after the COVID situation that we have realized that human life is at stake. So we have adopted to a lifestyle with restricted movement, greater hygiene, minimal consumption of materialistic things, and most importantly, learn to respect humanity. So the same amount of priority we have given to COVID, determination, attention, and accelerated action, अगर हम इसको climate crisis की तरफ भी करें, तो then we can really make a huge difference. So प्रकृति के शोषण को रोकना और उसके जो नुकसान हमने जो भी की है उसकी भरपाई करने के लिए भी जो भी कुछ करना है, हम सबको मिलजुल कर करना है. Because climate change or loss of biodiversity is not one single issue. There are multiple issues interconnected to it, and we need to address all of them simultaneously. So instead of, as I said, instead of ending the Environment Day, we can take one thing. And another second suggestion I had was human history. We began with worshipping the nature and traditional practices to safeguard the natural resources, because जो है हमारे जो forefathers की जो है livelihood depended on the natural resources. So one thing what we can do, and then especially when Mr. Sharma was talking about the ecosystem and the forestry and the tribal life and how we are exploiting it, I thought this we could take up collation of traditional practices to protect biodiversity. that is another idea. I thought that we could do that, because even at the COP level in the climate change conferences, we are all talking about traditional practices, because उन practices को follow करके वो लोग प्रकृति से जितना भी लेते थे उसका double जो है उसको वापस भी करते थे, which we have stopped doing. So branches जो especially rural and tribal community के साथ काम कर रही हैं, they can take up this project, and we'll be amazed that there is so much of knowledge stocked in there. So I'll be very happy to provide any possible support if any of the branch would like to take it up. Even at head office we can take up, but I thought branches who are really close to the community, close to rural and tribal areas, I think that would be really good. So these are just some of my thoughts I thought I would share with you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Supriya. Thank you for inviting me.
Unmute
Supriya, we can't hear you.
Thank you, Kalyani. Thank you for your remarks, and then we will again take it up in the interactive session. Now we actually want to have a small special intervention by Mrs. Padma Venkatraman. She's a very dynamic president of Women's Indian Association, more than a century-old organization, very efficiently managing the youth setup, and is a great motivator. She takes interest and, she shows results. I have done a lot of planning for this little program which I'm planning with her. And I request her to speak a few words. And she has with her a very senior dedicated tree planter who she's going to introduce. The gentleman, Mr. Hafiz Khan, has already introduced himself on the chat. So Padmaji, shall I just tell the people what he is?
Yes, please. Yes.
So Mr. Hafiz, Mr. Hafiz Khan is here. After Mrs. Padmaji, Mr. Hafiz Khan will talk. He is actually a climate healer. He claims to be a climate healer through an organization called Community. Creating man-made forests is his specialization. And he maintains and manages plants for 3 years to make them survive better. So far, he has planted 6.2 lakh trees and in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. And he would love to associate with us. So, Mrs. Padma Venkatraman, please, say something about today's program and give your views. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you, Supriya ji, for giving me this opportunity. And I must thank Hafiz profusely, because I just told him yesterday late evening, it's nice of him to participate. I think it is because of his passion for tree plantation rather than me telling him to join. So anyway, this whole session was very, very informative. Mr. Sharma's presentation was very absorbing. And actually, as he said, we are not only exploiting the earth and water bodies like ocean, we are exploiting the space also. And we are all hoping that COVID will teach us some lesson. I hope so. We'll learn something from this. And all the sufferings, I hope, will not go for waste. We'll all learn something from that. We'll have to respect nature, and we'll have to really be friendly. And then as they give to us, we also should learn to give it back to the nature. I hope we'll all learn the lesson at the end of it. And actually, for as Kalyani pointed out, we had this seed ball plant project, and that was very successful. That one of the branches, the Sanchu Women's Welfare Association, they came up with this good idea. We prepared the ball with the seed and the manure and the sand and all that. It was made into a hard ball, and we used the school children and the college students, and everywhere we went, we were throwing it in any place where it can grow. There is a potential, this thing. And it was really, really, it was a very good project. We continue to do it, not just we did it once. And it really got appreciation. Thank you, Kalyani, for mentioning that. And Actually, for at the WIA, we took up a tree plantation between year 1997 to 2002. That is when we were doing this leprosy rehabilitation program throughout the state, and it was supported by Danish International Development Agency. We took up all the government-run homes which had 3 acres to 40 acres of land, but nothing was done in those land. It was all lying waste because there was no infrastructure facilities. So it was all lying there. So we took it up in that project and we planted trees all over. I mean, wherever the government-run hospital, I mean, the homes are there, we planted it. And Sarojini Amma mentioned that we have really created a green revolution. That is, the trees are still very good. Of course, the inmates are really very old and crippled, and some of them are not even there. But the trees are there. So we have been doing it for quite some time. And now, actually, we were planning with I was associated with Hafiz on different projects. And of late, he has been helping us with the Gucci project. He was instrumental for the beach cleanup in 2 major areas. It was so dirty, you can't believe. And after all the volunteers did a good program, you can't believe that it was the same place. And then we talked about tree plantation. And then I was telling Hafiz, WA would like to take it up throughout Tamil Nadu. They will have to. Then we were just talking about it. Then just of late, he came up and said, Padmaji, you are associated with All India Women's Conference. Why only Tamil Nadu? We will take it up all over India and make it as a national program. Then Supriya and myself, we were talking. I don't know how many of you believe in this. They say the beautiful ideas are floating in the cosmic consciousness, in the universal energy. We all pick up. Probably Supriya and myself picked it up at the same time, or she was a little ahead of time. I don't know. But anyway, it's a really, really wonderful program. Supriya, we are all with you. And with the help of Mr. Sharma and Mr. Hafiz Khan and many other experts in every region, we'll all really accomplish what we want to. Thank you so much, Sheila ji, for encouraging all this. Thank you very much. And I would like Hafiz Khan to share a little bit of your experience and how we can take it forward, your idea also. Thank you.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much to Mr. Sharma and all the wonderful lady speakers who spoke before me. Each one is so precious.
You're muted.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Hafiz, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Mr. Hafiz.
Okay.
I think you're
We
muted.
lost actually.
Yeah.
What you said over the last minute, we couldn't hear. Can you repeat?
Yes. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Only now.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Okay. Right. So, yeah, wonderful speakers before me. Each one is very precious and beautiful and awesome in their own ways. Very inspiring and motivating. Well, what we do for ourselves dies along with us. What we do for others remains, and it is immortalized, right? Until all of you must be aware that Chennai had floods and storm 3-4 years ago. Until then, like everyone else, even I was planting trees and forgetting it, abandoning it, I would say. After the storm, after the floods, I realized that, the climate change and what we're doing just for the sake of pictures, posting in the Facebook and Instagram, that is not going to set a right example for the coming generation, our children and the future. That's when I realized that if we have to lead by example, if we have to inspire people, if we have to motivate, if we have to teach, and if we have to showcase, then only way is to adopt it, for at least for 1,000 days, 3 years, and then leave on their own for them to flourish and grow. Okay, so I started off this particular project in 2018 September of creating man-made forest. What we do is we identify lands, government lands, railway lands, army lands, police lands. In fact, 20% of the each city has wastelands. We can pick up these lands, school lands, and then we primarily try to see if we can use STP water. Otherwise, only in case we don't have only in case we don't have treated water, we go in for borewell water, and we do intense plantation. So what we mean by intense plantation is we choose, as Mr. Sharma was saying, we choose only the native species, and we plant every 1 feet, every 1.5 feet. So what happens is all these saplings, they try to compete with each other. They grow taller. Since they grow taller, faster, they grow very slender. So in case of heavy rain or in case of heavy wind, they could snap up or break. But then since they are close by, they support on each other, they lean on each other and help each other grow. At the end of 1 year, the moisture content in the soil is reduced by 20%. At the end of the second year, the moisture content in the soil is increased by 20 to 30%. After third year, it's increased, enhanced more. Moisture is nothing but water. When there is water below the soil, that means water is nothing but life. There is life below the soil, there is life above the soil. So with that, our trees are growing and flourishing and blooming and blossoming. So yes, one of the in 2.5 years we have planted 6.2 lakh trees with a lot of sponsors, coordinators, and support. Anyone can plant trees, actually. I would say the biggest advantage or the differentiator here is we have been engaging with the audience. Okay, how we engage is, for example, if there is a botany student, we ask them to come and check out why this plant is growing faster, why that plant is growing slower. If there is a zoology student, we come and ask them that, check out which is the insect which you found, which is the butterfly you found, which is the first squirrel which has come. If it is a photographer, then you can come and take photograph from nothing to something, that the formation of the forest itself. If you are into robotics, you can come and set up a camera and capture the pupa, which is going to be forming into a butterfly. If you are a singer, we invite you to come and sing for the plants and the flowers and the trees. You sing for an audience. We ask you to come and sing for the plants. If you are a dancer, we want you to come and dance to glory to among the trees and the plants and the flowers. If you are into yoga, please come into our place and meditate and do the yoga and pass on all the beautiful, mindsets and thought process and all these things. So it's a very holistic place where we are creating. So when Padma Ma'am was saying that, let's create a small little forest of our own of the Chennai, I said, why small here? Why don't we invite all the women of India or in the world, and every year we'll make it as each one plant one. We just charge only 199 rupees per sapling for maintaining and managing for 3 years. So every week you'll be getting a report. Every quarter you'll get videos and the pictures, and you'll be getting a tree will that you own this particular plant for all the sponsors and things like that. So so what we could do is all the women together, if each one can plant one. For example, this year, all the women together, WIA can have a WIA forest in Bangalore. Next year, we can have a WIA forest in Hyderabad. The next year, we can have WIA forest in Pune. So it's all about, showcasing the power of women and coming together, collaborating together, and leaving a beautiful legacy of WIA in every city, and totally leading by example.
I'm happy I correct you. AWC. WA is only Chennai. AWC.
Right. Yeah. So already I just wanted to be brief and close up with this. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
You're muted.
That's a
Mr.
wonderful
Hafiz,
idea.
thank you so much. And then I wanted to immediately ask you a question. would you
Yes,
be able
please.
to would you be able to create more volunteers in our organization?
We should. We
Mm.
will.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Thank you so much, because for that actually we require your help, and
Yes, yes, yes.
your record seems to be so encouraging for us. We will learn a lot from you. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Supriya, when we were doing beach cleaning, he brought all the youth from different colleges. At
Okay.
6:30, they were in the beach.
Okay.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
very nice idea.
Yeah.
We will actually bank on them also.
Mhm.
Students of colleges and higher level schools.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So now I want to open this forum for discussion, and please give us your ideas. We have heard 3 of them so far, 4 of them, and now we can just decide to discuss and come to some kind of a constructive plan. So who would speak first? Do you have anything to say, Bhanumati? Ashita
Yeah.
ji? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
After
Bhanumati.
Bhanumati, Ashita. Yeah,
Yeah.
please. After Bhanumati, Ashita.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much. I'm Bhanumati, Secretary of AIWC Kakinada branch. And Padma Venkatraman, as Hafiz mentioned about beach cleaning. So our Kakinada branch is famous for our beach cleaning project. And
Yeah,
our
we
project
know
is
that.
also mentioned by Kalyani ji in Spain conference also. That
Yeah.
And we requested our forest department to give us the plants suitable for that beach area. They have agreed also, but unfortunately, that it is due to COVID, it is postponed, but we will do it that way. So that is developing the forest near the sea, beach forest, more or less our aim of doing that way. So that we want to mention that only. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhanumati ji. Can I ask you, Ashita, to say a few words?
Yeah. No, I just wanted some from Mr. Hafiz, his program. Would the land be, recognized by him, or how is it? I just wanted a little clarity about.
All right. We already have tied up with the railways department. We have already tied up with the army. We have already tied up with the police. So if you have land, government land or panchayat land or public land, parks and places, common places, you can suggest us, or we can also guide you and suggest you and sign an agreement with the respective authorities.
And I heard that you have done work in Bangalore also. So
Right.
could I know where exactly and what it is? Being a Bangalorean, I'd like to know about it.
Okay, you are from Bangalore. In Bangalore, we have planted 1 lakh trees, and in Bangalore University campus, and in Hebbal, we have planted 21,000 trees for American Express and Hero Motors Corp. Yeah. Probably when I come to Bangalore, I would like you to come over and see how the forests are developing and how the new birds and species are coming inside.
Yeah, we do visit the Bangalore University. We had a program there also. So probably definitely anytime. We just
Sure.
Can I ask a question? Can I talk?
Yeah, please, Sushiji, boliye.
Good evening, all. My name is Susi, and I'm from Kakinada. And we are actually a branch to AIWC Kakinada. Ours is Maitri Women's Organization, and we are involved with many of these activities along with AIWC. And I happen to be the member of City Level Advisory Forum of Kakinada Municipal Corporation. So actually, as the previous speakers were all saying, after the COVID, the earth is able to breathe. That's fine. But I have a feeling that, the medical waste which is being generated, we have to do something about it, I feel. If we can work together towards it, it would be great. And someone can, all of you, in fact, can give your suggestions like how to get rid of the situation. I just want to ask this.
Very, very good point, actually. Is there any answer for it with anyone? We should have some body like Huladeck who actually picks up the cyber waste. Something like that. Medical waste could be picked up.
Supriya, can I say something?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I think in each city now, I mean, that's a common thing that everywhere the biomedical waste has increased substantially after COVID. So in each city, the city corporation, they have tied up with some organizations. I think we have to go to the pollution control board, or I mean, there's some website I'm not too sure of, but Sushi, I can find out and let you know. In each city, there is an organization which takes care of the medical waste. I'll find out and let you know. Definitely, it's a very big hazard, and then unless it is properly disposed, it's going to cause a lot lot of problem.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually
So it's a very,
alarming
very
thing.
crucial area. I think one needs to work on. I mean, waste management. That's one of the bigger waste which is going to come forward, and a lot of it is going to spoil our marine life because a lot of them is just being dumped into the sea also. So I'll try to find out and let you know.
Yeah, Amreshwari also is connected with pollution board, aren't you, Amreshwari?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
we can
you
just
can find out. You can find out.
Yeah,
Would
I'll
you be
find
able-
out and I'll let you
Yeah,
know. But
sure.
now also we have that some vans come to pick up this medical waste. You know.
Oh, where?
They to this Amirpet
In
area.
Hyderabad.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hyderabad, Amirpet
Oh,
area and all.
Okay,
These places,
okay.
they come to hospitals and collect the wastage from there. And
Huh,
I'm
huh.
not sure where they dump it.
Oh, yeah, you're right there. I think we have to do
Yeah,
some
I'll
research on it.
find out.
Homework.
I'll find
Correct.
out from Pollution Control Board.
Yeah, yeah. And we have here Harsha Merchant who wants to ask a question. Harsha? Harsha, you've raised your hand. Harsha?
Hello, Namaskar.
Yeah, namaskar.
I'm
Please ask your question.
I'm Dr. Harsha Merchant from Mumbai.
Okay.
Being a principal of a BS college and running NSS activities also, when I have listened to all these experts and resource persons, what comes in my mind that yes, we are doing researches also, as well as we are taking up projects also. Why not to join and network with all these things, and we can have such kind of activities through our students? It will be research based. So suppose if we come together and plan it out in such a way that it will be documented in a very nice way and a big research project can be taken. So I'm very much interested because I have human resources also, as well as being in the JJ campus at Baikala. It will be very easy for me to have such kind of resources. So I just request you, if it is possible, we can organize such things, and we do organize at our level. This will be a bigger research project. So I'm interested. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. You can leave your phone number, contact number with someone of us.
Why not, Sheila ma'am?
Are you?
I'm here. I'm
Okay,
here to do
okay.
the
Yeah, sure.
working with us.
Okay. Fine.
Only send her the link.
All right.
Yes. Thank you. Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you for attending.
And
Is
it's
there
not
anyone
my-
who would?
No, it's not my duty. On the contrary, I have it was late by me. Otherwise, my students might have also attended because they have the online lectures, so they might have not come. Otherwise, they have won so many prizes. It's my duty, sir, my honor. Thank you.
Is Mrs. Asha Gambhir here? Asha ji? She was actually making some signs, wanted to ask her. Asha Gambhir ji? I think she may have left.
Hello,
Anyone
Supriya, I
else?
want to ask a question.
Yeah,
Hello,
please,
Supriya,
please.
this is
Yeah,
Padmini.
yeah.
I want to ask
Yeah,
a question.
please.
Yeah,
Please, go ahead.
Can we have a separate talk of Mr. Hafizi for the South Zone at least? A separate talk, a more
Yeah,
detailed
sure.
talk of Mr. Hafiz,
Yeah.
because this is
See,
a new subject. Creating forest is something new subject. Can we have, will you please arrange one more talk, a
Yeah,
special
yeah.
talk for the, at least the South Zone?
Yeah, very
Huh?
good. Because
Then I just
we
want to
we
ask
are
Mr. Hafiz whether he has any developed any project in. I just want to ask him whether he had any project with Kerala.
In Kerala, not yet, but then we have been getting quite a few inquiries. Since the last 1 year, ma'am, we are on hold. We were supposed to have last 6 months. I mean, in 2020, the second 2 quarters, we were supposed to be planting 4 lakh trees. And now in the January, February, March, April, we were supposed to have planted 4 lakh trees. We had the order book, but then because of COVID, all the corporates have shifted their funds to other places. We have been getting quite a few inquiries in Kerala. Probably after June, when everything, the situation is all right, when everything opens up, I think so we should be doing some project. I'll keep you informed about that.
Is it from the government you are getting inquiries or from private parties or from some organization?
Generally, we work with the corporates and private organizations only. We work with government only for the land.
yeah, and you just make use of land for planting the trees.
Yes, the reason why
That's
we choose
all.
government, the reason why we do not use private lands is because there could be expansion plans, there could be selling away the property and things like that. With
True,
government
true.
land, we sign up an agreement for minimum for 15 years. There will not be any
Yes.
expansion and plans and things like
Sure.
that. Yeah.
Actually, you know, when we start our tree planting, Padmaji, we may have to do this exercise with the local governments to
Yeah.
come to know where the lands are available. So selection of land will have the soil of it. I mean, it should not be too rocky or something, but it also should be freely available from the government side. Otherwise, tomorrow we plant the trees and, you know, some other building comes up by cutting those trees. There's no point.
Right.
Yeah.
In Chennai, at present,
and-
we have taken a place, Supriya, in Chennai, where I live in Velachery. At present, we have taken up a place right from Velachery station to Perungudi station. Now we have started clearing with the government railway land. So we have taken up clearing the plants and everything, and we are going to have planting. Plant saplings.
Okay.
So, the
So
Velachery
now,
area has taken.
now that we have already announced this program for the World Environment Day, go on counting those trees in your account so that, you know, we can start on this program. And as Mrs. Padmini said, you know, South Zone A and B, we will sit together once and we have to have the guidelines discussed. We also have to have the plan in place and where to start.
Yeah.
You know, and all the questions you have in your mind, please put them together and we will find answers for that. Okay.
Yeah. I think, Supriya, after the brainstorming session, maybe we can also form a WhatsApp group with people who are to be this thing. Then we can go step by step what to do.
Sure. Yeah. And we have another thing I must actually say, because we are very confident to make this program a success because we have 2 dynamic zonal organizers with us, Mrs. Usha Nair and Varaprasadini. Without them, we can't move ahead. And then we require 100% of their cooperation. Today, Usha Nair ji is not there, but I don't know whether Varaprasadini is there. Durga, are you there? She also doesn't seem to be there. But we will convey the message that we can't do without them. Anyone else? Beena ji, would you like to say something on this program that we are planning? You are muted. We can't hear you.
I must congratulate you. The program you are organizing, very, very good. Not only this lecture, but the in future also plantation program. I like your idea very much. And I feel more and more people should join this program because it is a topmost subject to plant the trees. And many trees, old trees are falling down because of this air and other things, even in our complex, in ARWC complex. It's old trees, 3 trees.
The old trees,
Yeah.
the old ones.
Old
New
ones.
ones have to be planted now.
Yeah.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
in this, I want to make one request. Whatever plants we are planting, it should be neem, people, and
Yes.
other plants,
Yes.
not small plants, you know.
Correct.
There is no point with that.
Actually, Mr. Sharma has already given me a list for parks and housing colony areas.
Yeah.
And that list I'm going to share on the group. I can
In
even show it to
colonies,
now.
in colonies, there should be some shade. When they grow, the tree will grow.
Yes.
Shade should be there.
Correct.
Then-
Big trees are
then-
required.
Then that plant can protect the bad air and absorb bad air. And
Correct.
these are the few plants we have
Hmm.
to plant those trees.
Yes, yes.
This is
Yeah. Very good idea. We will follow up on that. And I suggest the members that whoever is planting trees from today onwards, make a count of that. May it be the head office. Let's have a count of how many trees we have planted in which month. Please keep a
I
record.
want to say something, Supriya, that
Please.
we have neem tree
Uh-huh.
in ARWC head office.
Hmm.
And every year there are so many that seeds fell down
Yeah,
and
yeah.
grow small neem trees. And last year I told Mali that why don't you take and prepare the
Proper sapling.
proper
Correct.
sapling,
Uh,
and we can distribute that because neem sapling is not available in the market easily.
Correct.
So we can give it to our members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I
that's
request the
do that.
president, I request the Mrs.
Yeah.
Sheila Kakade, that they have to instruct your Mali that they have to prepare that segments.
Yeah.
That is
Done,
very
Veena
important.
ji.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any neem plant anywhere.
We have 20 neem trees in our compound. I have counted them. 20 neem trees.
Lucky we.
हाँ, मगर शीला जी जब वो
Good.
गिरते हैं ना नीचे उनके वो गिरती है निम्बोली,
हाँ, हाँ,
जहाँ पे हमारी हट बनी हुई है ना, जहाँ we have
हाँ.
that hut, वहाँ पे
हाँ.
there are 40 siblings were there. मगर किसी ने कुछ परवाह
I
नहीं
will
करी.
take up this.
हाँ, please take up this.
Yeah. Thank you for the suggestion. Actually, before the number reduces and people leave, I want Mrs. Ashita Saran to give a vote of thanks. And for our speakers and outsiders, I must tell you, Mrs. Ashita, who is the present Vice President #1 of All India Women's Conference, who is in charge of South Zones A and B. We actually have a ownership on her, and we love to take her involvement in anything we do. She has been the young and dynamic worker and supporter of AIWC, held the post of Joint Secretary and member in charge of Youth Affairs, and has been working very systematically for the development of young minds, and is working on a project presently on the formation of youth clubs. She supports and encourages all the good work that is happening in the our zones. So let me invite her. Ashita, you're there?
Yes. Thanks.
Ashita.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this was a wonderful session, and the initiative taken. I think AIWC can be a tree warrior group. So you can name the what is that your WhatsApp group as tree warrior or the environment warrior. Okay, and I mean personally too, I have been doing it, and every year, not in numbers, not in a huge numbers, but I make it a point that every year on the Environment Day, plant one tree at least. And that tree, not plant wherever we like, but in the vicinity where I travel every day or to the nearby, so that, whenever I pass that area, the tree is visible and we see the growth, and the joy of seeing it grow into from a sapling to a beautiful tree. I think that is, there's no words for it. So probably one tree a year, and unfortunately this year I missed it, and tried to make it up very shortly. So that's my, a drop of, contribution to the environment, I would say. So Supriya has entrusted me with, the work of thanking, the all the resource people for this today's function. I can't thank them much because they have given such wonderful information. Though we know it to some extent, re-emphasizing listening, each time we listen to this, we get new information, I suppose. So I first and foremost, should thank our president, who is, always, supportive in all our endeavors or any projects as such. So thank you, Sheila ji, for your inaugural speech. Thank you so much. And we all, I can be the voice of AIWC saying that thank you so much for supporting each and everyone in all our programs. Secondly, I would like to, thank our guest speaker, PK Sharma. I know it's not easy being an IFS officer. So I know it's a tough job. So you have, retired from the, you have been a former head of Telangana Forest Department and Forest Force. And I heard from Supriya that you have been one of the, well appreciated officer. Thank you so much for your information, technically also. And I think we all have learned a lot from it. Next, I would like to thank, Kalyani. We need not have to say. I mean, she has the, subject in a whole, and anything, anytime. And she's been relentlessly working from so many years. Thank you so much for your special intervention. And Padmaji also, thank you so much for coming in and, telling your, giving your thoughts on it and trying to collaborate, you and Supriya, and coming up with the, this program in large scale in South there. Starting off with the South Zone, probably this movement would pick up in other zones too. Thank you so much. And a special entry, it was, as I think Mr. Hafiz, thank you so much. I think this therapeutic life for the plants as well as humans, I think we coexisted. They also, by our, emotions, they grow, and with their emotions we grow. And as you said, when we had a program in as you said, you have done a plantation in the Bangalore University. There's a small place. I'll just take a minute for to say, I heard that they have done a plantation every month. All these challenged children are brought there, and they are left to be with the the plants, and they have found that there's a great production in a healthy growth of the plants as well as the healthy mind of the children. So that is one, as we said, we coexist, in all emotions. Even they grow and we also grow. So Mr. Hafiz, I think we'll also look forward to collaborating, as you said, AIWC, what is it, forest as such. We look forward, at least down the years, that the small sapling that we put now would be a, forest. And as I said, that every drop matters. Thank you so much. And I would also like to thank our secretary, Kuljiti. I saw her, she was there, and Treasurer Energy also, because your presence also is a great support. Thank you so much. And I think a patron, I just saw only Binajit. As always, she's there supporting, and who knows it better than me how supportive she is, and she's always giving her positive support to all of us. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the suggestion given. And all the zonal organizer, I beg you, I will not mention all the names, zonal organizers, MICs, members, standing committee members, invitees, if anyone there. Thank you so much. And I will keep the last one, Supriya, the organizer, the person who was responsible for this program. Thank you so much, Supriya. And I'm sure we all will join together, and as you have expressed, have a positive impact on the environment. Thank you so much. Thanks one and all, and happy evening, and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much. Sophia? Supriya, are you there?
Supriya?
Priya is there. She has net problem.
Supriya? Net problem, yeah.
Connecting from my phone now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you so much.